let's wrap up the G1 CLIMAX 32, shall we? I ran a poll during the show here for the live crowd here where I asked, oh yes, there's an anniversary message. I apologize. Look, I'll keep it for a bit, Evan. I'll keep it when I get around to that. There, I'm even gonna copy paste it. But thank you very much for being a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel for 13 months. 13 months. It's fantastic. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. There we go. But yeah, let's recap the G1 32. Let's do that again. Let's recap the G1 CLIMAX 32. I spent the better part of the last few weeks staying abreast of everything in the G1. I've watched all of the block matches. I've had overall a very entertaining time doing so. And I have captured all of my coverage in audio and video form on the YouTube channel, in podcast format, to make sure that you don't miss a thing. Or if there's things that you're like, I just want to hear about it, and then if there's something gonna go watch it, well, that's what it's there for. And it's still there. And I'm proud of it. And I'm happy, and I'm glad I did it again. That coverage is officially done. Tonight, we are closing up the last 2 nights of the G1, being effectively the semifinals, basically the block finals, and the finals. So this is how we're going to wrap it up right now. First of all, August 17. We are going to be talking about the semifinals, Block A. Block A and Block B semi-finals, basically semi-finals. I don't know how to call it. Like, they're block finals, but they're semi-final. Look, just call it a semi-final match. Block A versus Block B. Kazuchika Okada, the winner of Block A, defeated Tama Tonga, the winner of Block B. I thought that it was a very good, a very strong match between them both. Where Tama Tonga explodes early on with some back and forth, and he plays the hits, a stinger splash, a Tongan twist. He even hits a Tongan twist on the floor on top of that. A Valeno back in the ring, rolling DVD. The Supreme Flow connects as well. Okada on his end tries to land to lock in a money clip, lands the diving elbow. He goes for a Rainmaker, it's blocked. He runs the ropes, and Tama Tonga hits a drop kick, which is usually what Kazuchika Okada does, right? When the other guy is running the ropes, and he just knocks him down with a drop kick. And we do have to mention that Tama Tonga has a very handsome drop kick, just like the Rainmaker does. There's this great sequence that I really enjoyed where Tama Tonga runs the ropes, he gets drop kicked, right? Then he gets back up, runs towards Kazuchika Okada, who drops him into a landslide. Okada goes for the Rainmaker. It's reversed into a gun stun, completely hits it. Kevin Kelly is losing his mind on commentary, but he's been banged up. He being Tama Tonga, not Kevin Kelly. Tama Tonga's been banged up. He can't quite make it in time to do the cover, so Okada kicks out of it, and Okada avoids a lot of gun stuns. A Pele kick fires up Tama Tonga, but Okada hits the Enziguri, Emerald Flosion, and the Rainmaker for the win. And he needed to bring out the big guns for Tama Tonga here. He couldn't just finish him off with a lowly money clip, and he couldn't just like land the landslide. No, he had to make sure that Tama Tonga stays down on this one. So the homages, the Enziguri, the Emerald Flosion, finishing him off with the Rainmaker. I thought this was a very good, very strong match between them both. I enjoyed Tama Tonga's tournament quite a bit. I think he's I think this was a very strong outing maybe our boy isn't quite ready to hang at, our boy Tama Tonga isn't ready to hang at that level just yet. That high up on the card with these guys. Maybe there's a little more energy that needs to be added to what he does, a little more finesse. But look, there could have, I wouldn't even blame Tama Tonga at this point to be nervous as hell, because he's, clearly Gato is like, hey buddy, I'm giving you the singles push. I'm giving you a big G1 win. You're turning babyface, right? You have to get the crowd on your side. And we're, to end it all up, I'm putting you in there with my boy Kazu. So he's like, Jesus Christ, like that's a lot to put on regardless, right? And I think he handled himself wonderfully. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here saying like Tama Tonga stinks. Never put him in a main event match again. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. But maybe my expectations were a little higher here. But I feel there's another gear to Tama Tonga that can still be revealed. I've been playing a lot of multiverses these days. So I think he hasn't unlocked enough perks yet. But we're gonna get there. Shout out to anyone who gets that reference. Evan left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Evan. He says, Tama needed iron finger support. Pause. Don't ever bring that shit up again. Matt Ritter, I hope you're happy. I hope you're here, because here's the iron finger, iron claw, iron glove discourse of the night. You're getting it right now. We're never talking about that shit again. God. Thank you for the super chat, though. And the second match of night 17 was Tetsuya Naito getting beat by Will Ospreay. My predictions. Well, I'm going to get to that in a second. Look, here we go. Here's the thing. First time ever match, which it shocked me. This was, they announced it when Ospreay, no, when Naito won the block on night 18. Chris Charlton was like, first time ever match. And I'm like, fuck you, I don't believe you. And I opened up cage match. It's like, I'm gonna nail you to the wall, Charlton. You're retconning something. I gotcha. This is impossible. Naito and Will Ospreay in the year of our Lord 2022 have never fought. I don't believe you. And he was fucking right. I could not find a single match between them both. And I was like, good shit. This match did not disappoint on top of that. This was a great match. Fantastic main event. Naito works the neck, which he usually does, but it's all, Will Ospreay, his neck is his Achilles heel. It's his Achilles neck. If you want. His Achilles nape. Kind of like the Titans and Attack on Titan, right? Y'all have the weaknesses in the nape of the neck, right? What am I even talking about? He works the neck, particularly useful. That's usually his strategy to get people ready for Destino. But neck breakers, double leg Nelsons, like he's doing everything to Will Ospreay here. Ospreay hits a phenomenal forearm, a Kawada kick, and a chop. Step up in Zaguri by Ospreay, which is followed by a standing Spanish fly on top of that. Just some great stuff. Some strong style ensues from them both. An avalanche poison Rana by Naito. Cross-legged pile driver by Will Ospreay, this will not be the last time we see him use this. Hits the hidden blade. He goes for a Stormbreaker. It's reversed by Naito, who lands a Destino. And Ospreay kicks out of it. So Naito's like, fuck you. I'm going for a second Destino. That one's avoided. Our boy Ospreay hits a hidden blade. Naito kicks out of that, but connects with the Stormbreaker. We're done. Fantastic. Just a great match from top to bottom. From these two guys who've never fought before, which again is wild to me. And Will Ospreay gets the win, goes to the finals on this one. Two really good matches, two really great semifinals. And I'd say the Ospreay Naito match is, it's a couple of notches above, despite the fact that it's great work from Okada and Tama Tonga. This one here, just outstanding. Just a great match. So my predictions going into this, after this, I should say, just complete garbage. I had legitimately called Tama Tonga versus Tetsuya Naito in the finals. So Okada Ospreay is the more predictable outcome, not the boldest choice. I think mine had a little more teeth to it, a little more interesting, because I was buying into commentaries talk about Tetsuya Naito's this being maybe his last chance to headline a Wrestle Kingdom event, right? I'm like, probably, but I should have learned at this point in my career of being a Tetsuya Naito fan. I should learn to be disappointed. I should learn to have things not go my way when it comes to Naito's booking. I never learn. I should have seen this one coming a mile away, where I'm like, nah, Gato's not going to do it. He won't. He's going to tease it the whole way, but he's going to pull the rug from under me, just like he usually does. And there we go. He seldom disappoints, does Gato. And Tama Tonga, well, I was like, well, look, if this is the moment that they want to really pull the trigger on him, it's like, look, this guy can hang with the top dudes. This guy belongs on this, on this ceiling right now. You haven't beat Okada, and there you go. Because at the same time, I was going under the impression, because we didn't get any signals to the opposite, but I was going under the impression that we were going to get 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom, meaning that even if Okada got eliminated from the G1, didn't win the G1, he could still insert himself into a main event at Wrestle Kingdom, which has happened in the past. That's, exactly what Jay White did, when Kota Ibushi was champion. That's exactly what he did. And not when Kota Ibushi was champion. When Kota Ibushi had the briefcase, Jay White just snuck himself in and said, hey, you get one night, I get the other one. So I was like, Okada could do the same thing, because it's Kazuchika Okada. Who's going to say no to Okada? No, you can't do that. So I was really expecting Naito to win here, but instead we end up with the more predictable, safer bet of Kazuchika Okada and Will Ospreay in the block finals, and the bet paid off because we had an absolute match of the year, match of the tournament, match of the week, match of the tournament, match of the week, match of the month, match of the year contender. Unquestionably. An excellent match. And what was good about this match, which was interesting, is that this was not the Will Ospreay who, quit Chaos, had a chip on his shoulder because he felt he was being held back. It was like, haha, Okada, I'm coming for you kind of thing. Or, the guy that he had to beat Okada because he's so much better than him. I'm going to prove it, so on and so forth. No, this is a guy. This was a Will Ospreay that's sobered down a little bit. He's matured. He's changed. He started his own faction. He's got his own group now. He wants to find out if he's as good as he thinks he is, as he says he is, by beating Okada and winning the G1. It's not just like he said it himself, it's a question of his legacy. I have to do this. I have to win because it is crucial for me. It's not even a question about beating Okada. It's not a question of being, finally, fuck you. It's more like this would be the culmination of a very personal journey for him. So I like that wrinkle. And that's how it felt throughout the match. He didn't have United Empire guys, pulling bullshit outside the ring, trying to trip him up or shit like that. This was Will Ospreay legitimately giving it his all to try and dethrone the Rainmaker. So early in the match, Kazuchika Okada's in control. What does he do? He works the neck. It's the weak spot, and Ospreay sells it. He's like, no problem. You're creaking the head all in my neck, and it works. So there's that sort of Damocles for the entire match here. Ospreay goes for a pescado. It's interrupted. It leads to 2 DDTs on the floor by Kazuchika Okada. Back in the ring, Ospreay hits a suplex and a phenomenal forearm. Okada sits up on the top turnbuckle, but it's Will Ospreay who drop kicks Okada off to the floor, which is usually one of Okada's signature spots here. And what does Ospreay do? He goes to the top turnbuckle, hits a sky twister. We're fine. Then he hits a nos cutter off the guardrail. We're cooking already. Back in the ring, Ospreay uses he kicks, but he eats a flapjack from Okada, and Okada locks in the money clip, and Ospreay is hurting because works the neck again. He's in pain. He eventually fights out. Backbreaker by Okada reapplies the money clip. Of course, Ospreay manages to get out. There's an elbow drop by Okada, again, signature move. Ospreay fights back with a sequence of Kawada kicks and a chop and Kawada kicks and a chop and Kawada kicks and a chop, which was really fun. And then he chops Okada down, who gets back up, chops Ospreay down, who gets back up, and lariats Okada down. Both guys are just spent at this point. There's shenanigans on the apron at some point that lead to Ospreay landing the landslide, to avoiding a landslide and hitting an Os cutter as they both fall to the floor. Okada crawls back into the ring to try and beat the count. And just as he's coming in, Ospreay is right there with him with a missile dropkick. Just as Okada is getting right into the ring, sliding under the bottom rope, whomp. I love that shit. That sense of urgency. This match is important. So, and Ospreay, he's studied. He's done it. Commentary was putting over the fact that he and the United Empire were dissecting Okada's offense. They were going through tape and they were, coming up with strategies together as a group, So there you go. There's an application right there. Urgency. It makes the match feel like there was research and build behind it. There's some back and forth that ends with a cross-legged pile driver again and a hidden blade by Ospreay, but Okada kicks out. Now, Ospreay goes back, starts digging up ways that other famous Kazuchika Okada opponents have used to try to defeat him, successfully defeat him. He hits a high fly flow. He hits a Styles Clash. He hits a V trigger and then goes for the one-winged angel. But the one-winged angel is reversed into a landslide and a rainmaker, but Ospreay kicks out of it. We're in and out of finisher attempts at this point. Ospreay gets out of an Emerald Flosion attempt with a pop-up European uppercut. He runs the ropes, but he gets caught in a spinning Emerald Flosion and a rainmaker. We're good. Okada wins. Whew. Just an excellent professional wrestling match. Excellent professional wrestling match. Kazuchika Okada wins his 4th G1 consecutive, see, 2 consecutive G1s on top of that. So he's going to Wrestle Kingdom. He's going to be up there fighting most likely Jason White. And that's how the G1 it just wrapped up spectacularly. You couldn't have asked for a better finish to a G1, which, if I'm going to give my final overarching thoughts, had more good than bad, I would say. Will it go down in history as one of these legendary G1s? Absolutely not. There were some great matches, but I think there was there were great matches. There were a lot of good matches. Like good, solid professional wrestling is something that I said a lot during my reviews. But it's the G1. You know what I mean? It's the G1. It's the most prestigious wrestling tournament in the world. It's the one that people step on each other's necks to try and get a spot in. It's grueling, it's tough, but it's a big fucking deal. And it should be a big fucking deal for the audience as well. Like, we should not have had to sit through 4 to 5 nights in a row of very, very average, good pro wrestling without anything just, giving us goose pimples. Shit getting us out of our seat, wanting to jump on Twitter and say, fuck you, TV Asahi, here are gifs of the match I just watched because it was absolutely fantastic. Like, it didn't happen all that much. And it's the G1. I enjoyed it. And it was my pleasure to watch it and to report on it, cover it, I should say. Look, I think the 4-block experiment was inconclusive to me. From what I'm gathering, from what I'm hearing, there's people who say this, who love it. Bunch of people who hate it and are like, we got to go back to the 2-block format. I think it's to me, it's inconclusive. I think the main problem that generates that comes from the 4-block setup is that there are multiple nights where you don't have any marquee matches, right? In the way these matches were set up, at first we're getting like 4 block matches a night. We're getting A, B, C, and D instead of like all A and all B. So there are nights that you end up where, your main event is, look, it's not a good example because it turned out to be a great match. But when you look on paper and you say, look, it's the main event of this night is Juice Robinson and Dave Finlay. What the hell are we doing? I mean, the match turned out to be extraordinary. But I hope you understand my meaning. Much less opportunities for marquee matches. You get a lot of, much more ordinary matches. And is there a lull in every G1? I think there is a lull midway through the tournament for every G1. You could, I don't think it's reasonable to think that there's never a lull in the tournament, because there are. I think the fact that there's more people in the tournament is cool. I think it's a good idea. I liked it. But I think one of the things they can do next year to fix this, to make it at least a little better, is to get rid of the dead weight. Get rid of the people who have nothing to give in this tournament. Like Yujiro, like Bad Luck Fale. Get these people out of the tournament. We're done. Because what I saw this year, I saw first-year entrants, Aaron Henare and David Finlay, working hard as hell every night, win or loss. Yoshihashi, that's his deal. It was, I joked about it multiple times, but it's also very real. No one in this tournament worked as hard for his losses than Yoshi fucking Hashi. I have no use for Bad Luck Fale. No use. No use for the sack of shit Yujiro. I'm done with these guys. They bring nothing. They slow everything down. They make other people look bad. Get people who are hungry. Bring in more young guys. More first timers, if anything. El Fantasmo had another great tournament because he's graduating. He's going up into the heavyweights. He wanted to have a good performance, and he did. He had some great matches throughout. But you've got a lumbering sack of dough that is Bad Luck Fale. This is not the Bad Luck Fale of 2012. That guy does not exist anymore. It's the G1. And I'm going to be on record again. I said it in my preview shows, but I'm going to say it here again. I'm on record in my preview saying, oh, well, someone has to eat the pin. Someone has to eat the pin. Might as well be guys like Bad Luck Fale and Yujiro who have nothing to lose, right? No, I've pivoted completely from that, a complete 180. You can absolutely bring in people who can take pins, but will create compelling matches in the meantime and won't just stand around hoping that their next move doesn't botch or pull out one of their 17 moves that has a name. I'm convinced, and this is just gut feeling, but I'm convinced that this G1 was designed this way, 4 blocks, more people, and then we ended up having to pad holes. We had to pad it out with Fale and Yujiro and the like, because AEW was supposed to send some people over. I'm extra convinced. But then all the injuries hit, all around Forbidden Door, right? I'm convinced that whoever Tony Khan had earmarked to go, whether it's a Bryan Danielson or someone along those lines, maybe a Jon Moxley, who knows? Others, Jericho, would Jericho do but Jericho probably wouldn't do a G1. He doesn't need to do a G1. But I think there were people that were earmarked. The injury bug hit AEW, and Tony Khan was like, "Look, I gotta protect my garden. I can't send my guys over. I gotta keep my guys here." Claudio, yeah, exactly, Matt. Yeah, Claudio would have been another. See, I'm sure, but then he panicked and was like, "I can't." So Gedo on his end was like, "Well, let's call Fale." I'm convinced, though. I'm sure that that's a problem that occurred and it stinks. I really think that we're going to see some AEW people at Wrestle Kingdom. I really do. But in the meantime, it kind of blows. It kind of blows for the G1. That being said, we did learn that Wrestle Kingdom, speaking of Wrestle Kingdom 17, is going to be one night again. We're back to the one night format. Had I known this, I would have never predicted Kazuchika Okada losing the G1. Trust me. January 4. And New Year's Dash is coming back on the 5th. And I hope it is a proper New Year's Dash. I hope it is a proper New Year's Dash that we get back. People get excited about it. The good old fashioned yearly reset. I'm stoked for it. It will feel good to get back into that. So I'm happy about that. And was also announced that New Japan Pro Wrestling was going to hold Rumble on 44th Street as they take over New York City in October 28th to be precise, at the Palladium Times Square. And it was announced that in addition to members of the New Japan roster, members of the Stardom roster will also be part of the event. I'm completely okay with that. I think it's great. I think it's very, very good. And if I'm not mistaken, they are crowning the first IWGP Women's Champion the month after, right? In November, I think. But I mean, that's great. That's going to be a really fun show. Very, very exciting. I thought it was very cool that they had Shuri and Julia from Stardom as part of the G1 Finals pre-match ceremonies, giving the ceremonial bouquets to Kazuchika Okada and Will Ospreay. And Kevin Kelly then said, hopefully they can return the favor at some point, where Okada and Ospreay do the bouquet stuff in a pre-main event, a main event ceremony where they then give like Shuri and, I don't know, maybe Julia, maybe Tam Nakano or whoever, Starlight Kid, the bouquets. I think that would be a nice show of respect. I'm stoked. I'm stoked for this New Japan Stardom synergy. I really am. And I know there's a lot of people who are fucking irritated about it, and it makes me even more happy about it. But coming back to the G1, time for Warren's picks. No, I'll never do that again. I think my MVP of the tournament is Will Ospreay. I don't know if you in chat have any other thoughts, but I think there is. I don't think there's anyone who's had more consistently good matches in this tournament than he has. He's worked hard in every match he's been in, and everyone he's wrestled against looked great at the same time. I would give a very close second to Aaron Henare, who had a fantastic tournament as well, even though his record is the pits. He's 2-8. He had a fantastic event for his first time in. Looked incredible. Wrestled such solid matches, and I'm excited for his future. But Will Ospreay, I think, definitely the MVP for your boy Warren. Best nights of the tournament. Let's say if I were to pick my top three, night 12. Night 12 of the G1 32 is absolutely the best night of the tournament. That is not even... Justin Firestein hit the bricks. Night 12 was absolutely the best overall night of wrestling for the G1. That would have been the August 6th show. You had Yoshihashi and El Fantasmo, Lance Archer and Toru Yano, which was actually one of the better, more fun Toru Yano matches. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hiroki Goto, which ruled. Jay White versus Great O'Khan, which was fantastic as well. And of course, Shingo Takagi versus Will Ospreay, which is a match of the year. I'd say night 1 is another very good night of G1 action. Night 1 is, it was the opening salvo, one that got a lot of us very excited because it was a very solid show on July 16. So we're going all the way back to start. Aaron Henare with his surprise win on Hiroshi Tanahashi. Will Ospreay versus El Fantasmo in a very good, like the bar. That's how I had called this match. So this is the bar from which all other matches are going to be judged. It was very, very good. Jay White defeating Sanada and Kazuchika Okada defeating Jeff Cobb, setting the stage with some great matches. Everyone was working hard. Fun night. And night 4, I think, would round out my top 3 matches, which happened on July 23rd, where we had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Aaron Henare, which was very good. Shingo Takagi versus Yoshihashi, which was outstanding. Kazuchika Okada versus Toru Yano, which was what it was. And Jay White defeating Tomohiro Ishii in one of their better encounters. Very, very good one. And if you were to ask me what were my top 5 matches of the tournament, I'm going to go with the finals, Okada versus Ospreay. I'm going to go with Shingo versus Will on night 12. I'm going to go with Juice Robinson versus David Finlay from night 6. No one, and it was a hard fought, a fight, just a good, passionate, hardcore fight without being a hardcore match. But, and what made it even better is that no one saw this one coming to be as good as it was. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kenta on night 2 was outstanding as well. And to top off my top 5, let's say Shingo Takagi versus Yoshihashi on night 4. Don't sleep on it. G1 CLIMAX 32 in the books.